Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjanaya Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjanaya Yamunatira Vanacharya Yamunatira Vanacharya Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjanaya Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjanaya Yamunatira Vanacharya Yamunatira Vanacharya Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gora Premanandi Hari Hari Bo. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nasta Prayesha Vadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from the 5th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 3, text 6. Okay.
Try to chant it?
No, you go ahead. You're the expert.
I've been doing it, that's all.
Okay, go ahead.
Parijano raga vidichita shabala sang sabda sarala sita kasalaya tudasika durvan kurat abhisambritaya saparyaya kilapadama paditusyasi.
Thank you. All right. Please repeat translation word by word. Parijana, by your servants. Anuraga, in great ecstasy. Virachita, executed. Shabala, with a faltering voice. Samshabda, with prayers. Salila, water. Sita Kisalaya, twigs bearing new leaves. Tulasika, tulasi leaves. Durva Ankurai, and with newly grown grass. Api also. Sambritaya, performed. Saparyaya, by worship. Kila, indeed. Parama, O Supreme Lord. Paritusyasi, you become satisfied. Translation: O Supreme Lord, you are full in every respect. You are certainly very satisfied when your devotees offer you prayers with faltering voices, and in ecstasy bring you tulasi leaves, water, twigs, bearing new leaves and newly grown grass. This surely makes you satisfied. Purport: one does not need great wealth, education, or opulence to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead. If one is fully absorbed in love and ecstasy, he need offer only a flower and a little water. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam Yome Bhaktya Prayaschati. If one offers me with love and devotion a leaf, a flower, fruit, or water, I will accept it. The Supreme Lord can be pleased only by devotional service. Therefore it is said here that the Lord is surely satisfied by devotion and nothing else. Quoting from the Gautamiya Tantra, the Hari Bhakti Vilas states, Tulasi dala matrena jalasya chulukena va vikrinite swam atmanam bhaktebhyo bhaktavatsalaha. Sri Krishna was very affectionate toward his devotees. Sells himself to a devotee who offers merely a tulasi leaf and a palmful of water. The Supreme Lord is causelessly merciful upon his devotee, so much so that even the poorest of men can offer him with a little water and a flower in devotion and thus please him. This is due to his affectionate dealings with his devotees. Om Agyan Timirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chakshurum Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in darkest of ignorance, and my spiritual master Srila Prabhupada opened my eyes with the dark torchlight of knowledge. Therefore I offer my humble and respectful obeisances unto him. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. O Supreme Lord, you are full in every respect. You are certainly very satisfied when your devotees offer you prayers with faltering voices, and in ecstasy bring you tulasi leaves, water, twigs bearing new leaves, and newly grown grass. this surely makes you satisfied. So Krishna is so nice and humble and sweet and grateful that what he wants from us is our heart, you know. That's all. The offering of things, that's secondary. It's not what we offer. What can we offer him? He has everything. But love means to offer something. So that's why it is important, you know, to offer something. But the secret has to be with devotion, with love. Is any difference between the word devotion and love? I'm asking you. Please explain. Because we use both word love and devotion.
Yeah. Well, devotion, love is basically a feeling.
Okay.
Devotion has more the implication that you do something. In other words, there's got to be some feeling there.
Yeah.
But it includes the activity of the.
Yeah, you offer with devotion.
That's why that's an interesting statement.
Yeah.
If I may make one
Yeah,
comment,
please
Prabhupada
do.
would always define bhakti as devotional service.
Yes.
In other words, he would emphasize that he's got to do something. It's not just some emotion.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
I mean, the emotion is basic.
Yeah.
Even at the beginning of Narada Bhakti Sutta, where it's talking about prema,
Uh-huh.
he's talking devotional service.
Yeah,
service.
yes. And actually, devotional service imply also your feelings. Please go ahead.
It says loyalty or enthusiasm for a person, activity, or cause.
Devotion.
Yeah, that's devotion.
So there is activity.
Yeah.
So, of course, activity can be even chanting, hearing, and remembering. I mean, if you're remembering Krishna, you feel something. That's an activity. You're doing the remembering. So all the 9 aspects of devotional service are contained in the first 3, according to Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Chanting, hearing, chanting, and remembering. And all the 9 are included in this 3. And the 3 are included in 1, which is kirtana. So when we chant, we are also hearing and we are also remembering. Supposedly, you can chant and your mind can be somewhere else, but that's not real devotion. That's fake. We have to put our mind and heart in the chanting. Then it is real chanting. No? Of course, the beginning, due to material contamination, the mind tend to goes away here and there. But the practice is to bring it back. But once one develop attraction, attachment to the holy name, then he doesn't need to make that effort. It comes naturally. That you want to chant with feeling, feeling, knowing Krishna and his name are non-different. So how can I be inattentive? So the attention comes out of feelings of affection for the Lord's holy name, seeing that he is not different from his name. So how can I pronounce his name absent-minded? Then there is no, it's mechanical. The beginning, everybody, everyone like that, so it takes some time. We keep chanting until the purification start to work in us. And when the purification start to work, then naturally we start feeling something for Krishna, So that's very important. And very interesting thing that here it said that Krishna likes when devotee offer prayers with faltering voices. That's a very interesting thing. Yeah, there must be some emotion there that you become overwhelmed by the emotion to glorify Krishna with so much feeling that your voice falters, So this is wonderful. I mean to say, devotional life is all about developing sentiment, affectionate sentiment, feelings for the Lord. That's all about. I'll tell you one story about that, about external and internal mentality in devotional service. This is a story from the Puranas. Once two brothers made a pilgrimage to Mathura with the idea to visit the temple of Keshava, this very ancient temple of Lord Krishna there. Still up to now is there. So when they arrived, they were walking in the road toward the temple, but suddenly heavy rain fell, came. So one of the brothers ran to save himself from the rain. He just ran to a house was there, so he just ran there. But the other brother ran to the temple. So, and the house where the one of the brothers took shelter of was a prostitute house. So anyway, it was a very torrential rain. So but the other brother noticed, he saw some beautiful girls there, so he understood, oh, my brother entered into brothel, So anyway, then what happened that is very, very instructive. That the brother who was in the temple doing abhisheka to the deities was Jamastami, was not any ordinary day, was Jamastami. But and the other one who was in the brothel, he was thinking, how unfortunate, unlucky I am that my brother must be doing abhisheka to Lord Krishna, and I'm here surrounded by all this prostitute. How fallen I am! How I should have run with him to the temple instead of trying to save my body from getting wet. I'm so wretched and fallen. And he was lamenting like that. And the other brother who was doing the abhishek, he was thinking, oh, my brother must be enjoying the company of beautiful girls. He must be drinking some nice wine and enjoying their company. And I'm wretched here just doing this abhishek. So apparently, externally looking, one is an horrible, and the other is, but it's all about the mentality. Understand? It's all about that, That's all about devotional service to Krishna. The mentality we carry inside us is what Krishna accept or reject. So you think Krishna will accept the abhishek of somebody who's, thinking of enjoying, he feel unlucky not to be there. See? So that's the, that's the thing. We can't cheat Krishna by an external show of devotion. That's a fact. Since Krishna's in the heart of everyone, he knows our mentality, our feelings, he knows everything. So it's no question of cheating him. We may cheat ourselves, thinking that I'm a good devotee, everybody see me like that, but Krishna knows what is in your heart. So that's what we have to work around. We shouldn't care too much about what other people think of us, in the sense that we should do things to please Krishna, not to please others. Of course, if Krishna is pleased, then others will be pleased too with you, naturally, So that's why, pure devotees are pleasing to everyone, because Krishna is pleased with them. That is said about the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan, that they were dear to the ruffians and to the saintly at the same time, because they treated everybody so nicely, And Sanatana Goswami was considered like a father to the Vrajavasis. He was going around and they will come to him to speak about their problems. I have this family problem, this fight with my wife. Please advise me this and that. And he very, like a father, he will advise them and be very affectionate to them. So all of them loved him, naturally. And once he said, I do prefer to hear all the gossip of the Brijavasi coming to me about their problems than to go outside of Vrindavan and hear other things, So, anyway, that's all about spiritual life, to develop friendly, loving relationship with devotees, make an effort to develop our dormant love for Krishna, be kind and merciful to those who are ignorant and innocent, and avoid those who are envious and atheists. Of course, devotee take risks to preach even to the atheists, and that sometimes gets them in trouble, Like Haridas Thakur, he got chastised, in 21 markets he was, beaten. So, but that's the risk, of trying to help other people, Sometimes they get angry. It is said in the Vedas that if you give a good advice to a foolish person, gets angry. Instead of thank you for the good advice, gets angry, why you're telling me this? So anyway, we have to be tolerant, and of course, there's preachers mean Madhyamadikaram is avoid those who are envious. You don't make them make more offenses, and those who are atheists, there are no good atheists actually. It's easy to defeat them. Why? Why is it easy to defeat them? Because if you don't believe in something, you don't need to deny it. And if something doesn't exist, not real, you don't need to deny it. I don't believe in God. If you don't believe in God, then why, it's a contradiction. Understand what I mean? Yeah. Of course they are in a mission.
They want to save us.
Yes,
from believing in God.
From believing in God. Yeah, of course. And they were smart enough to introduce this atheistic philosophy everywhere. In the media, you never speak about God. In TV, everywhere, no talk about God anywhere. Practically speaking, it's just like, all these things. Rarely mention anything about that. Very rarely. They introduced this atheistic philosophy of Darwin and the Big Bang and all these things, And it's accepted like normal, 2 years ago, I was in Argentina and the temple, and one lady came to ask me if I can speak to her daughter. She was 11 years old, little girl. And she told me, please help her. She's confused because at her school they're preaching to her about Darwin's and the Big Bang. And at home I'm telling her that Krishna created the universe. So she's confused, so please tell her something. So I sat down with the little girl and I explained to her, the philosophy, with logic and, and common sense, that you don't see something comes out of nothing. That's our experience. Everything has an origin and a purpose. For example, this mic has a shape, has a form, and has a purpose to amplify the voice. So everything has a form, a design, and has a purpose. For example, the sun has a design, is round shaped, and has a purpose to give heat and light to the world. So in the same way, the conclusion of that is that if everything has a design and a purpose, must be an intelligence behind that. Naturally, you will not accept that this mic came out of nothing, appeared here suddenly, out of nowhere. Nobody will believe you, Even Newton had this experience with an atheist friend. He applied this to him, that they will always discussing about, God and atheism. And one day, this friend came to visit Newton, and he wasn't there yet, but he saw a small, model of the solar system. So when Newton arrived, he said, "Oh, that's congratulations, you did this nice model of the solar system. It's very well done, No, I didn't do it. No? Who did it? Some of your collaborators? No, I think it appeared by itself here." So you want to joke with me today or what, So you don't believe it is possible that something appear out of nothing? No, of course not. I'm not a fool. But you want me to believe that the original one, which is much greater and wonderful, that came out of nothing. So in that way, he defeated him with his own philosophy, with his own argument. So anyway, why we do feel hungry? Because there is food. Why we feel thirsty? Because there is water. Why we do feel the need of God? Because God is real. He does exist. Some may say, "Oh, because of your weakness of mind, that's why you think of God." Like once when Prabhupada was in Venezuela, we went to morning walk every day with him. And one morning walk, one student, at that time was still Virabaho Prabhu. He was studying at the university. So he told Prabhupada, my professor at college, he said that this idea that God exists is made by man due to fear of death. And Prabhupada's answer was, tell your professor that we think of God because of fear of death, then let him solve the problem of death, then we stop thinking of God. But don't ask us to stop thinking of God without first solving the problem of death. Is he not afraid of dying? If some criminal come to kill him, rob him, he will say, yeah, I'm not afraid. No, please don't do it. Take away everything. Don't kill me. Please, police, help me. Oh yeah, there is one joke about that. One atheist went to a safari, in Africa with friends, and they were in the middle of the jungle. But he got lost from the others, so he was alone, trying to find a way, to reach them. And suddenly, a big tiger was in front of him, looking at him and licking his tongue. The poor atheist was in shock. He was trembling in fear. And he said, God, I don't believe in you, but if you exist, please make this tiger a good Christian. And the tiger said, thank you, God, for sending my meal today. It's a joke, of course, but I mean to say. Sometimes even a big atheist at the time of death, oh God, forgive me, something like that. Yeah.
They know that there's no atheists in the foxholes. The foxholes where in an army, they hide there,
When
the bombs are coming, everyone is
praying. Right. Hare Krishna. Well, because people are sentimental, they can't understand what generally an argument they give about that is that if God exists, why He allows so much suffering in the world? So many people dying every day by wars, by famine, by so many things, pandemics, and small children dying. There was one rabbi, Jew rabbi. He wrote a book called "Why Bad Things Happen to Good People." Yes? Really? Okay. Anyway, he is a family man. He lost one of his small children, so he almost lost faith in God. Why God allowed this to happen, all these things. So in the book he was writing that there are two ways to explain this. One is God doesn't exist, but I can't be an atheist. I'm a believer in God all my life, so I'm not going to become an atheist. And the other solution is that God doesn't have full control over His creation. Sometime accident happened out of His hand. So God is not guilty. But that is also wrong, because Krishna does have full control over His creation. No? And because people don't understand the law of karma, and reincarnation, they have no way to explain the problems of the world. They just get confused, they don't. Because religion without philosophy makes you sentimental or even fanatical. No? And philosophy without religion, without God, is just mental speculation. So you need both together to explain things as they are. I remember I was in a radio program in Spain some years ago, and they invited all the religion, Buddhist, Christian, Muslim, everyone, So the subject came about the hell, Do you believe in hell? Yes. We also say, yes, I believe in hell, but we have one difference about hell. What is that? We don't believe that hell is forever. Because our religion believes God. Once you go hell, you can't come out. But the argument I gave is that if God is all merciful and somebody died in sin, He's not giving another chance to rectify himself, then you can't call God all merciful. But according to the Vedas, there is hell, hellish planets. But once you pay according to the amount of sin, of course, once you pay for that, then you're given another chance. And that's why reincarnation is necessary. They couldn't argue about that because they couldn't say that God is not all merciful, It's part of their philosophy, Anyway, and when it came about, suffering in the world and all these things, I said, we are creating our own suffering because we are disobeying the laws of God and the laws of nature. What is the name of this famous atheist who died? One atheist who died recently? Stephen Hawking. Stephen Hawking's argument was, we don't need God to explain the universe because we have the laws of nature to explain it. If there are laws, who is the lawmaker? You can't have laws without the lawmaker. Laws don't appear by themselves. Somebody has made them. So it's just the common sense they can't understand. Why? Because Mayaya Parita Gyan. Their knowledge is robbed by illusion. So a simple thing that even a child can understand, they can't understand. Although they are very smart and intelligent. No? Yes.
Burn in hell for this, but the knowledge is stoned by all of these material desires.
Yes.
Correct.
Mayaya Parita Gyan also, So, there are many people who are pious and they have material desire, but they believe in God, But somebody is over-intelligent to explain. God gives them the intelligence how to become good atheists. Even for that, they depend on God's mercy. Anyway, so Krishna is satisfied so easily when we offer Him even a small tulsi leaf. Because it's very dear to Him, the tulsi. There was one pastime in Dwarka that Narad Muni came one day, and he glorified Krishna so nicely, so beautifully with his veena, Krishna was so pleased. He told Narada, I'm so pleased with you. Ask me anything you want. And Narada said, well, I'm traveling all around the world, and I need an assistant brahmachari. So, for 1 year, will you come with me, please? Yes, of course. But one moment, Krishna is not brahmachari, he's a grihasta, so how he can say brahmachari? Well, actually Krishna is a brahmachari. I explain why. This is from Tapal Gopani Upanishad. That once Durvasa Muni arrived in Vrindavan, he was on the other side of the Yamuna. So Radharani and the gopis came to know, so they prepared, prasad for him. And they were looking for a boat to cross the river to do that. But there were no boats. But Krishna was sitting at the shore of Yamuna. So they approached Krishna, saying, Krishna, please help us. There are no boats. We need to cross the river to serve the sage, And Krishna smiled, said, yeah, that's very easy. You just say, stop in front of the Yamuna with folded hand, and you just say this prayer. Dear Yamuna River, by the power of the austerities of Krishna the Brahmachari, eternal Brahmachari, please open your water. So the gopis started laughing and laughing, clapping. You are a Brahmachari, come on. You have so many girlfriends in Vrindavan. And in Dwarka you will be a big grihastha with so many thousand wives. Krishna said, okay, smiling, you don't believe me? Try it at least, see what happened. Okay, they did that, and the Yamuna water opened up like this. So they could walk through it, And they reached Durvas Muni, and they served him nice feast, prasad, The sage was very satisfied, And then the Radharani asked the sage, to come here we have to say this password to cross the Yamuna. What we should say to go back, because there were no boats to go back. So the Durvasa Muni told them, you just said, dear Yamuna River, by the power of the austerities of the Durvasa Muni, who didn't eat today, please open your water. So Radharani was surprised. How you didn't eat? We saw you eating a nice feast. And how is that Krishna is an eternal brahmachari? Please explain that to us. So Durvasa Muni said, Krishna is not a materialistic enjoyer. He doesn't enjoy anything different from himself. So you all, gopis, are his internal energy, internal potency. No? And the queens in Dwarka are expansions of you. So, in that sense, Krishna doesn't sport with any women with a material body, from this material world. So, in that sense, he's an actual brahmachari. And in relation to me, I'm also not a materialistic enjoyer. Although you saw me eating a feast, I also was watching myself eating. I was watching my body eating, but I was aloof from my body. I don't identify myself with the body. So I also was watching my body eating nice. Yeah, I didn't eat. We have to be careful with that philosophy, Because I remember some years ago, I was doing Sankirtan in Venezuela, book distribution. And I saw one devotee coming out of a movie theater with a cigarette in his hand. So he saw me, got shocked, And I asked him, Prabhu, why are you smoking? He said, I'm not smoking, my body is smoking. So we have to be careful not to misuse the philosophy. And then he apologized, said, no, you're right, my body is a temple of Krishna, I shall be doing this, And he told me, actually I'm a Maya, I'm trying to forget Krishna. And I went into this movie, but inside the movie, one man was, what do you call when they take him to the military? Was drafted, and they shaved him, and after shaving him, he started to dance, chanting Hare Krishna. And I say, come on, I'm trying to forget Krishna being Maya. And this, they chanting Hare Krishna in the movie. And then I came out of the movie and said, okay, I've smoked cigarette. But suddenly I saw you and said, no, come on, Krishna. So Krishna will not allow you to forget him some or other, So Krishna is very kind and merciful toward his devotees, and although devotees sometimes be Maya, he will trick them back, some or other. If they are lucky, of course. If they're not lucky, they have to wait until next life. They will be given another chance. But if they're lucky, they will come back to their senses. Once a devotee asks Prabhupada, when a fall down is considered accidental, and Prabhupada said, if the person comes back to Krishna consciousness, even after, doesn't matter how much time, that was accidental. No? No. Because of the power of Maya so strong, and the person is weak, whatever, confused. But if he's sincere, he will be kicked enough by Maya, so he will come back asking forgiveness, from Krishna. So, when Narad Muni asked Krishna, I need a brahmacharya assistant, and Krishna, of course, since he offered the blessing, he had to agree, he can't. But all the queens were unhappy with Narad Muni because he took away Krishna from them. And after a year, he came back with Krishna after traveling all over. And the queen came, angry at Narad, give us back our husband. And Narad Muni say, of course, but there is one condition. You have to put his weight in jewels and gold, Okay, no problem. So Krishna sat in what you call scale, and they start to put all their jewelry, on the other part of the scale, And there were many queens, So. And no matter how much gold and jewels they put there, the scale will not come down, So they were desperate. And they asked Rukmini for help. So Rukmini told them, okay, you just take all the jewelry away. And she brought a tulasi leaf and put it in the scale, and it came down. Tulasi leaf. I say tulasi because it is Sanskrit. Tulsi is Hindi. And here in the verse it says tulasi. We say tulsi is okay, no big deal. But I mean to say Sanskrit is tulasi. Tulsi is Hindi. Anyway, whatever, doesn't matter. The thing is that for Krishna is more valuable a tulsi leaf than all the jewelry and gold of the world. Why? Because tulsi is a devotee. Although it's a plant, you may say, how can be a devotee a plant? The same way that there are medicinal plant, herbal plant that cure diseases. And this plant is a spiritual plant that cures the disease of material attachment. So become attached to Tulsi Devi. We get purified. It's dear to Krishna. Anyway. All right. Any comments, questions?
Hare Krishna. Maharaj?
He's in Portugal.
Come to the front so we can see you.
Go ahead, Vijay.
Thank you, Dravida Prabhu. Maharaj, I'm calling from Portugal. My humble obeisances and all glories to your class. Maharaj, my question is related to you saying that the scientist, Stephen Hawking, the deceased scientist, he said that we do not need God for explanation related to how the material manifestation functions, because we have the laws of material nature to do that. But then you said that, but if the laws of material nature, they exist, where is the lawmaker? But Maharaj, you know better than me that to find the lawmaker related to the laws of material nature, it is extremely difficult, because Lord Krishna, he chants to Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita as it is that I know everything and everyone, but me, no one knows. So my question is it that in some way Stephen Hawking was right?
No, he wasn't right. He was wrong. Because if you need to know God, then you have to approach the person who knows God. He can tell you about God. That's the process. You approach a guru, spiritual master. You have to be humble enough to accept I don't know everything, I need help to know about God. So you approach a person who knows better than you. That's the process. But if you're not humble enough, you're too proud, I'm big scientist, why do I need to go to anybody, you know? I can explain everything by myself, then you remain in ignorance.
Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna. Are you in Portugal now?
Yeah.
Yes, Azores Archipelago, the 9 Portuguese islands.
Oh, thank you for watching.
Thank you very much, Maharaj.
He's always practically always attending the classes.
Oh, wonderful.
He's a regular at the class. Many
Yeah, I was in Portugal 3 years ago.
And we are hoping for you to come back, Maharaj.
Hopefully, yes. Thank you.
Krishna.
Thank you.
I have one.
Yes.
One little story about how Krishna doesn't let you forget him. If you'll allow me, when I was first getting interested in Krishna consciousness, I had a little apartment, I had a job, and I was living about a mile away from my parents' house. You know, I had a regular job and everything, and I would go into the city. I lived in Long Island. I would go into Manhattan all the time, and I kept running into the devotees. They were dancing on Fifth Avenue, and then I was buying some fruit rasa, and it turned out to be prasadam, and I went to Brooklyn Temple. And at one point I was thinking, all right already with the Hare Krishnas, you know, let me go home and watch some TV. You know, so I went to my parents' place, I turned on the TV. It was all black and white at those days. This is 1968. And what's on the TV? There's something called David Susskind, which probably all of you are too young to remember, but you remember. I don't know, you were in a different place. But it was like he was a host, and he would invite various groups and talk about them, you know, talk with them and like that.
Yeah, yeah.
So this particular night, he decided to invite the Hare Krishnas from the Brooklyn Temple, which is the one that was right near me. And there were these effulgent devotees. You know them all. Yogeshwar was there.
Yeah, I know Yogeshwar.
Rupanuga.
Yeah, I
you
know
like
all
the
them.
leaders. And they were speaking so sweetly about the Hare Krishnas, about the whole philosophy in Krishna. I said, I can't get away from it. I can't get away from it.
I tell you my experience also on watching TV. And the first time I saw devotee was on TV. It was black and white too at that time, you know. So I was already practicing yoga. I was vegetarian, you know. I was chanting Om and all these things, you know. So anyway, I was my family, you know, sitting together. They put the TV on. One show, you know, one famous guy in Venezuela had a show, daily show. So the devotees appeared on the show. First they were doing kirtan, and then they start being asked questions, and they were explaining the philosophy very nicely. So I turned the volume up so to hear them more clearly what they were saying. You know. And my mother was next to me, and she said, "The only thing left you to do is to join these Hare Krishnas." I wasn't thinking about it. But when she said that, I thought, why not? It's a good idea. It's a good idea. And then next day I saw them in the street chanting, you know, in front of my house, you know, my apartment, you know. I said, well, this can't be coincidence, you know. They gave me a book, you know. So and I started reading the books and everything. And I thought they look very happy, you know. I would like to be like them, you know.
So when you finally joined it, your mother says, what did you do? You said, Mom, it was your fault. You told me.
You told me. No, let me tell you another joke. When I decided to join, I started, you know, visiting the temple. You know, I met one devotee. He gave me a card to visit the temple. The temple was in another town, you know, 2 hours away from my town. You know, wasn't only in the capital had the temple. But I went one day to the capital with a friend, you know, visit some friend, and we met this brahmachari. He was, you know, he was interested to talk with us, so we talked to him. He said, "Oh, you practice yoga, you're vegetarian, that's good. Please visit our temple. We have a Sunday feast, and we have philosophy, we chant mantras, and we dance and chant, and we have a vegetarian feast you will enjoy." "Oh, sounds good. Yeah, we want to go." "Okay, here is the card." So we went to the temple for the Sunday. First time I was coming to a temple. So before I came to know about devotees, when I was teenager, my parents were gonna send me to become a student, become a priest, a monk, Christian, of course. I was 14 years old, but I didn't go. That was in Lebanon. Because that same year they decided to go back to Venezuela. It was not the first time. Anyway, it was the second time. Anyway, so when I entered the temple, and I remember asking one Christian priest, once, the Bible says we are made in the image of God. So can you tell me how God looks like? I want to know. I need to know. The priest said, that's a mystery. Nobody have seen God. Sorry. It's an invisible spirit, So I wasn't satisfied with that answer. So that's why I decided not to join the monastery, because my doubts were not cleared. And then I read in the Bible that Jesus said, there are more truth to be told, but you are not ready to understand. And then I also read, search for the truth and it will make you free. I said, okay, he's giving permission. If you don't find it here, look somewhere else, So in that search, I start becoming, I became vegetarian, practice yoga now. But I knew there was something missing because in the yoga they also have an idea of God as an impersonal energy, and all this. But I wanted to know God as a person, So when the first time I entered the temple, immediately asked the devotees, can you please tell me for you how God looks like? Immediately they show me a big, beautiful oil painting of Radha and Krishna next to the Yamuna with a peacock and cows, Beautiful. And I was shocked, I was surprised and happy at this. Finally, somebody have an actual answer, So I look at the painting and I thought, why not? He could be God. He looks very beautiful. And just before that happened, I was with a friend visiting a yoga center in another country, actually, Colombia. We went, and we were at the vegetarian restaurant together. And I told my friend, an idea just came to my mind. I said, well, please share it. Tell me. He said, do you see from the window this big building, gray building? This made by God, by man. And do you see this on the table, these beautiful roses, fragrant roses? These are made by God. If God can make such a beautiful, fragrant flowers, imagine how beautiful must be God. But unfortunately, I don't know Him yet. But I promise you, the day I will come to know about Him, I will surrender my life to Him. And my friend said, that's a very nice thought, but please take it easy on me, He didn't want to lose me as a friend. Next time we saw each other, I was dressed as brahmachari, this book distribution. He said, okay, you fulfilled your promise, And I gave him prasad. I have prasad with me. He was happy. Anyway, so when and I thought also, when the devotee showed me I thought, all religions of the world are looking for God. And this Hare Krishna are brave enough to have his picture on the wall of their temple. That's far out, This very revolutionary, very, I need to know more about this, So I start to go more often, to the temple. Although I live 2 hours away, I was going 3-4 times a week, to do service, wash the pots, and the first
and then
day.
you finally said, why should I travel so far? Let me just stay there. Right?
Yeah.
What's the point of all this traveling?
Yeah. Once I asked the devotees, what do I need to do to join, to live in the temple? Say, oh, you have to follow the 4 rules. I said, I'm already following for more than a year. So then what are you doing outside? Come here. So finally I made up my mind to move to the temple, and I told my parents, They were not happy about it, of course. My mother was crying, she told me, it took us so much trouble to have you because they lost 3 children before me, because of sickness. So they went to church and they prayed to God, if the next son survived, we will dress him as a Christian monk for 3 years, and we'll offer him to your service. So I reminded them, you must be happy that I'm going to the temple. No, why? We don't want you to go. Well, because I'm helping you to fulfill your promise to God. They say, well, we meant the Christian God, not the Hindu God. You should have been more specific there. God is one. It's not Hindu or Christian or Muslim. It's one. So don't worry. I'm going to check it out. If I don't like it, I come back. I told them just to pacify them. I didn't have intention to come back. They say, okay, come back soon. Okay, let's see. So I just came to the temple. And the first night I stayed at the temple, I had a dream with a big kirtan, many devotees dancing, and suddenly a beautiful golden boy started dancing amongst them, and he got lost consciousness, the devotee shouting the holy name in his ear, and he's jumping in the air, and I wake up very happy. I told the devotee my dream. I said, wow, you dreamed of Lord Chaitanya. I said, who is he? I didn't know who was Lord Chaitanya. Just read the name in the books, but didn't know much. So they explained to me, and anyway, it's a long story, but thank you for the opportunity. Hare Krishna. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaur Premanandi, Hari Hari Bol.
Bhakti Sundar Swami ki jai.